Welcome to the Arctic. I know that it may seem as though we're in a residential area, but I assure you we are not. We are north of the Arctic Circle. This is going to be an extremely technical video, but one that needs to be done. And the reason why is because I'm seeing a lot of new winter campers, and I'm happy about that. I actually want people to come outside and enjoy the outdoors, but I also want them to know how to survive. So today, I'm going to show you how to melt snow, or as I like to call it, snowball soup. In deep winter conditions or the high alpine, melting snow often becomes our main source of water. Today I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about melting snow, like literally everything. Welcome to Snow Melting 101, or as I like to call it, snowball soup. One of the first things that new winter campers ask is, where do you get your drinking water from if everything around you is frozen? And that's what I'm here today to tell you. Now, there are I'm wearing lobster mitts, but I'm holding up 5 fingers. There are 5 topics that we're going to go over today. 1, conditions. 2, equipment. 3, fuel consumption. 4, the actual cooking technique. And 5, storage of the melted snow in the form of water. The technique that I'm going to show you today is for extended, sustained freezing weather backpacking trips where water is not available. Most people do not realize that winter campers and mountaineers do not always have the luxury of going to a nearby lake or water source to get readily available water. This might be due to the fact that there's not a lake nearby, as in a mountaineer, or perhaps the lake is so frozen that you can't get to the water. Maybe the ice is so thick you can't actually even break through it. But in both scenarios, what you do have around you is snow, and that is what you're going to use to get your water. Now I'm going to go over all the equipment that you need in order to do this properly. I've got it all right here, and I'm going to show you. First and foremost, a pot. This is a 2-liter MSR Titan kettle. I recommend at least 1 liter capacity for melting snow. Second is a spoon, or some utility in order to stir and mash up the soup that you're creating. I've got a Mountain Laurel Designs long-handled titanium spoon. And this is the pretty important part, and one that I see is often overlooked. When you're dealing with sub-freezing temperatures for an extended period of time, most stoves are going to fail, and that's why you need a liquid feed remote inverted canister stove with a preheat loop or a generator. There's a whole bunch of science behind why you actually need a stove with those features. I'm not going to go into the science in this video, but I suggest you look it up if you're going to be spending extended time in freezing conditions in the backcountry. What is also important, actually not just in the winter but in all seasons, in this case we've got the Inuri windscreen by Sulik 46. It's adjustable in diameter and also made of titanium. Everything I make or have is made of titanium or carbon fiber or Cuban fiber. And of course you're going to need fuel, and that's what I have here. I'm using the Coleman PowerMax fuel, which is discontinued, but basically the holy grail of winter fuel with this stove, the Coleman Extreme. Now when it comes to storage, once you have the fuel, you're going to need to transfer it from your pot. I recommend a Nalgene wide mouth bladder. It's easier to pour the hot water into, and it's watertight or liquid tight, so I actually put this in my sleeping bag in the evenings once it's all warmed up. So something that also always comes up when we're talking about winter stoves is fuel consumption. Obviously in the summertime you're going to use much less fuel, and in the wintertime much more, because you're going to be melting snow and dealing with the cold. When you're melting snow, you can expect to use up to sometimes 4 times as much fuel to melt a liter of snow than if you wanted to just boil a liter of snow. So for me, on one of these canisters, I get about 8 liters of melted snow. How do I know that? Good question. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to get a empty container and weigh it, and you're going to get a full container and weigh it. And then you can either go and do some tests in your backyard, or you can actually go on trips and write this type of stuff. So what I do is I keep track of how many liters of snow that I melt, and then I weigh the canister when I get back, and that's how I know exactly how much fuel to bring on trips. Phase 1 of melting snow to make water is to get the ingredients, and the ingredients are very simple. They are in the form of snowballs. Don't make them too big, don't make them too small, and don't pack them too tightly. I dropped one. Snow is actually quite low in moisture content, so when you're trying to decide on how much snow to collect, Figure that you're gonna need 5 times the volume of lightly packed snow than that of what you want of water. So for example, if you want 1 liter of water, collect 5 liters of snow. We are well set up here and we're going to begin. I'm also not going to go over setting up the stove and whatnot because I'm assuming that you know how to do that. Now here's a secret that not everybody knows. You can't actually just pack a bunch of snow into the pot, because what will actually happen is that it's so cold that the small amount of water that is generated from the heat will immediately evaporate because there's so little of it. And you'll go into this constant cycle of just evaporating the snow, and the snow will actually not turn to water. So the first thing you do is you get a little bit of snow, like so. And you melt it slowly by holding it above the flame. The logic being that you need to generate some water first. As you get more and more water, you can add more snow in more aggressive amounts. If you put too much in, you will freeze the water that's currently in there, and it will go away. And if anybody told you that it was a fast process, well, quite frankly, they lied. And once you're kind of up and running, you can get into more of a strategic position. Place your windscreen on there and continue adding the snowballs. As you get more water, you can add more and more snowballs. Now it isn't a fast process, it actually takes a long time. And that's why I do it at night when I get to camp. So I usually melt a few liters in the evening for dinner and drinks and whatnot to consume that night. And then I melt 3 to 4 liters for the next day, and I store it inside this.
Oh yeah.
And the way it works is, as you melt enough snow to fill your pot, you then need to take that water out, but not all of it, because you want to keep a little bit in there so you can continue melting snow at a fast pace. And I take it out, and like I said, I store it in one of these, or several of these. So in reality, I would be much more aggressive at melting snow, but for demonstration purposes, I'm kind of working the camera and doing this. If you stuck around this long, then I give you 2 secrets, 2 things you're going to work on. One is reducing or eliminating the amount of times you have to stop to melt snow when you're on your adventures. That's why I only melt snow in the evening when I get to my campsite, for consumption and all the water that I'm going to need for the next day. The second thing you're going to work on is storage of that water. What do you do with a few liters of water when it's 6 or 7 p.m. in the winter and the temperature is going to drop to -10? So here's what you're going to do. And you're going to pour it inside your Nalgene. That's right, these can take boiling water, no problem. Put the top on nice and tight, and you're going to put this in your sleeping bag for the night. That's right, you're going to sleep with it. Don't tell me that it's going to leak. Make sure you don't buy one that leaks. I've been doing this for decades. And by putting it in your sleeping bag, it's going to do 2 things. 1, it's going to keep it from freezing, and 2, it's going to keep you warm all night. Don't believe me? Give it a try. Do something like this. That's going to heat the blood that's circulating in your body, distribute the heat to all your limbs, toes, and fingers, and keep all you cold sleepers very, very warm. And the best part about it is that when you wake up in the morning, the water, obviously not going to be boiling hot, is still going to be warm. And I think that covers it for today's tutorial. Let me know in the comments below if you like these tutorials, and then I'll do more of them. For now, consider yourself a graduate of this course, and I look forward to hearing from stories of all of you new winter campers going out and enjoying the backcountry and not dying of dehydration. I'm Steve Evans, and I'll see you on the trail.